Hey, what's up, everyone? Hope you're having a good Saturday. I was thinking about this today and wanted to give you some more advice and tips on how to be more successful in the overage and surplus funds business. And so today I want to talk about 3 ways that you may be killing your deals in this business. Specifically, when you get someone on the phone and you're not able to, get their contact info so you can send them more information. You know, if you're not able to secure the deal, or people are hanging up on you, or you're getting a lot of rejection, hopefully these tips will help you. And so there's 3 issues that are pretty common. Issue number 1 is you talk too much. This is very common, especially when we're starting out, because we're nervous. And when we're nervous, we tend to talk too much. We tend to vomit words into the phone, basically. It's kind of a gross saying, but nonetheless, word vomit. I'm sure you've heard of it. So this happens, we're trying to sound professional. We're trying to sound like, we're experts, that we know what we're talking about. And so we try to give them a lot of information and tell them, as much information as we can without giving away where the money's being held. And we end up just confusing the prospect. We end up confusing the client. And we may come across as a telemarketer when we do that, when we talk too much, okay? And so what you have to do is keep it simple, keep it basic. When you're calling someone, just say, "Hi, this is who I am. This is why I'm calling. Is it okay if I send you some more information about this?" Keep it simple. If you're trying to, get someone to sign agreements and everything on the first initial contact, I think you'll struggle, because I used to do that and it was hard. But then I changed my approach. I tweaked it a little bit. And I dumbed it down and made my phone calls very simple and with a specific purpose in mind. And it's just a small, I just want a small yes, a little bit of permission from them to be able to talk to them more about the overage, the surplus funds. So that's one thing. And then preferably, don't get sucked into answering a bunch of questions on the first call. Preferably leave that for a follow-up call and go over questions with them. And if they're asking a bunch of questions, just be like, "Hey, I would love to answer your questions. Is it cool if I send you some info that will help answer those questions? And then if you have more questions after, we can talk about it after you review the info, and let's set up a time to do that." That's what I would do. Okay, you don't want to get sucked into this interrogation on the first initial contact. Reason number 2, you may be killing your deals when you're talking to people, is you're just strictly business. You're just all about getting the deal done. And that can kill your deals in a lot of ways, because really these people, because we live in a world where there's a lot of scams, these people just need to know that one, you're a real person, and 2, that you have their best interest in mind. Now, how do you do that? Well, you have to build some sort of trust or rapport with them. And a lot of times, when we're in the talking about tax sale overages and mortgage overages, surplus funds, it means that these people, if they're the homeowners, that they lost a property. They have suffered a traumatic situation where they lost a property. If it's an investment property, maybe it's not too traumatic, but that still means they had some sort of hardship where they weren't able to pay their property taxes or make the mortgage. A lot of times, people go through divorce. There's like the 3 Ds. I don't know if you've heard of the 3 Ds. Debt, divorce, and death. And these 3Ds are usually a lot of the causes of foreclosure and tax sales. So another thing is divorce. People go through divorce, they can't come to agreement on selling the home, and so they just let it go. Happens all the time. The other one is death. You will find that many of these homeowners are deceased, and so now you're talking to their heirs. And sometimes death is just a hard thing, but it's part of life. And so now you may be bringing up something that was very traumatic for this family member. If maybe it was a traumatic death, or maybe it was unexpected. And so you may be bringing up a lot of pain by reminding them about this property that this loved one that has now passed away used to own. And so you need to understand that. And if you learn, a lot of these people will tell you why the property sold or what the situation was. And so when someone shares with you a little bit of personal info like that, like, oh yeah, that house belonged to my dad and he passed away and we couldn't keep it, something like that. Or, just the other day I was talking to an individual, a client of ours, he's already signed up with us, but I had to call him to get some more, to send him another document to sign. And he mentioned, he shared with me a little bit about, this property, and then also how he had to deal with a similar situation, with another family member who was passing away. And he shared with me a little personal experience. And so in that moment, when someone shares you personal experience, you need to step back from and look at it you need to look at the situation as a person and not as a business transaction, is what I'm saying. Because when someone shares with you personal information, that is an opportunity for you to, one, show that you're real and be able to build some rapport and trust with that person. When my client shared with me the other day about, their dad passing away, I stopped. And at that moment, it's not about me trying to get this document signed. In that moment, I want to, take that opportunity, take that, that they're sharing with me and build some rapport, build some trust in there, and show this person that, I'm also a human and that it's not just strictly business. That's what I'm trying. Hopefully you're getting the point I'm trying to make, is when someone shares personal info with you, stop and build some trust and rapport by maybe, offering condolences or showing some empathy, or, saying, sharing a little bit about your life, sharing a similar situation that you encountered, or someone that had to go through that situation. Or maybe it's just like, wow, that must have been really hard, but I'm good for you for getting through it. Okay. Acknowledging them or sharing something about yourself with them. This is how we build trust and rapport. And then, go back to what it is you need to do. But don't just be like, if someone says, oh yeah, my dad passed away, don't just be like, oh, I'm so sorry that happened. Is it okay if I send you this information about this property though? Don't do that. That just tells the person that you don't care about them. You're just in it for the business transaction. So be aware of that. And finally, the final step is that you may be, the third reason you may be sabotaging your chances of success when you're talking to people is you're not using a script. And this is very important. You're winging it, basically. If you're winging it, you're going to struggle. It's really hard because every situation is different. Every phone call is different. And you may get asked different questions or have different objections. And if you're not using a script, you're going to be like a deer in the headlights and be like, and they're going to perceive that and they're going to sense it, or they're going to sense that you're making stuff up, and they're not going to trust you, or they're going to think that you're not capable of actually helping them. And so have a script also with objection handlers. So if someone come up with questions you may hear or objections they may have, and have a response to those. I'm not saying to read a script word for word. You don't want to do that, but you want to have a script that you can refer to help you stay on track, and to help you also, when you are caught with questions or objections, you know how to handle them because you have a script. It's sitting right in front of you on your computer. And so a script can be very helpful. You don't read it word for word because you don't want to sound like a robot, but you want to have one to kind of guide you and guide the conversation. I have copies of my scripts for all my students inside my course, as well as objection handlers. So you can copy mine, you can use mine if you want, or just develop your own, develop your own based on your experience so far. So that's it. That's all I have for you today, is those three ways you may not be able to secure a deal. And just to review: 1, word vomit, you talk too much. 2, you're just strictly business and you're not connecting with people. And 3 is you're winging it. You're not using a script. So be aware of these 3 pitfalls and how to overcome them. Again, we talk about this in my course on how to talk to people. There's a script in there, so you can use that as a resource to help you. And keep going with your phone calls. Good luck and everything, and hopefully this was helpful. Thanks, guys.